towards the end of her life. She was determined she was going to make the 100 until her 99th year, and then everything started to fall apart. Her body really started breaking down, and I think in the end she was ready to go, and she would tell me on the phone that she prays every night for God to take her, that she don't want to wake up in the morning, but she did. Every morning she woke up, and she did still keep her sense of humour, but I think towards the end she was ready to go, and it was unfortunate the way she went, but at the same time it was what had to happen.
She had such a lot wrong with her, and she often prayed to God to take her. She was in such pain, so she tried to keep going, but when she finally broke her hip, I think she knew that was the end. So all we can say now is God bless, and I'm glad you're out of pain, and we loved you very, very much.
And it was a great shame that she wasn't able to move about at the end, you know. It was sad that she lost her mobility. But she could still see and make her point if you didn't argue with her, if she could lay the law down still and want you to be the boss. But she was a wonderful lady.
At the very end she had gone downhill, but she's all in, her mind was there, you know, she could still give you advice. Very stubborn. I kept saying she needed to go into a home so she could be looked after, because basically all she was doing was sitting, and she was just watching the telly or not doing very much. And I said, look, Nan, you could be doing this in a home, having care, having constant care, but she was stubborn and she was wanting to be independent.
Unfortunately, I didn't see much of Nan towards the last couple of years. But I remember, you know, her, the fact that, you know, she went blind in the one eye, and obviously she lived to a great age and was not as perhaps mobile as she would have liked to have been, because that was Nan. She was always on the move, and she wasn't one to just sit back and let things happen. She'd be up there and be lively. Not that she was always that way, but because I remember when we used to have parties at home, she'd be the one sitting on the sofa, and it'd be Pop that would be up there dancing and singing.
All there, you know, nothing wrong with her marbles. Always made a fuss of me when I saw her, still, and I made a fuss of her, but she was lovely, you know, she was ready to go, I think, as well, when she went, and when I went to the funeral to say goodbye to her, you know, I was sort of like celebrating her life then, because she had a long, full life, and she loved all her family, and she always made you know that whenever you saw her. So, you know, this to me is a true celebration of her life.
Unfortunately, towards the end of Nan's life, because she lived up in Swindon and I live on the south coast, I couldn't get to see her as much as I'd like to have done. Couldn't just pop round there and see how she was getting on, but Jenny and Arthur and Sir Ian and the Swindon family were always popping in and keeping an eye on her. Mum said to me that I should go and see her, and because she'd had a very bad year, she'd not been very well, and she'd been in and out of hospital. And so in September 2009, I went down to see Nan, and she, for the first time, she looked like a proper frail old lady, but she was as bright as a button, really was, absolutely spot on. I asked her what, if she could remember anything about her dad, who died in the First World War, and she said she had only one memory of him, and that was when she was 4 or 5 years old. She could see him walking down the road in his full army uniform with a kilt. He had his kit bag on one shoulder. She ran up the street and he scooped her up into his arms and put her up on his other shoulder. She said she could even remember what she was wearing that day, the dress and the pinning and all the rest of it. So she had a fantastic memory. And one thing's for sure, I'll never forget my Nan.
So, what can I say? She was bright as a button, sharp as a tack, sound as a pound, right up until the last time I spoke to her.
Mum always said that she loved Nan. I mean, she loved all the family, all the girls, but she spoke a lot about Nan, and she was pretty upset when Nan died, because I got the message from Bert in the email that Nan had died, and Mum said, well, that's it, so I'll be next. The rest have gone, there's no one else left, and I'll be the next one to go. And I said, don't be silly, you've still got a few years yet. You'll make the 100. No, of course, she said, no, I probably won't. But she was pretty upset with it, you see that, she was upset.
And I've always had an admiration for her and Pop, but anyway, wherever you are, I love you.
I didn't see, obviously, as much of her as Sue did, but every time I saw her, she just seemed almost her normal self. She was obviously having problems getting round and everything else with everything that had gone on, but she made the most of her life, which we should all try and do.